Hello guys and welcome back to Planet 40k Necrons. We've got another unit review for you today. We're going to look at the Tomb Blades and go through all the usual stuff. Before we get into today's video, just a little bit of an update, well, an announcement slash update. Of course, as per the last few years now, we've done sort of a festive countdown in December. And that is, I know it was still in October, there's still a bit of a way to go. But if you've got any sort of ideas or suggestions, let me know down in the comments below. Love to hear them. Of course, the Necron Codex is due to be out sort of around that time, so that could kind of conflict with plans. Hopefully, I don't know what I'll hope for really. Hopefully in January? Don't know. But if you've got any other suggestions, I've got some sort of ideas, and there will of course be a giveaway. Anyway, let's get into today's video, which is the Tomb Blades. So, we are going to be doing our Planet 40k rating at the end, of course. Let's start this thing off. They are 80 points for 3 Tomb Blades, or 160 points for 6. That's how you take them in 10th edition. Now, in the previous edition, they were, what were they? They were 18 points each. I had a brain fart then. They were 18 points each. So, it was 54 points for 3. 108 points for 6. That was dirt cheap, wasn't it? But we did have to then pay for some of the weapons, the Gorse weapon and the Tesla weapon you have to pay for. And you have to pay for the war gear as well, which we now just get completely free. So when you were kitting them out in 9th edition, you did pay like 26 points a Tomb Blade if you took the Gorse weapon and all the gear. So that kind of effectively is like 78 points for 3, so it's only 2 points off really. So it's not really that far, it's not that much difference really. So we've got the mounted keyword as well as fly. Mounted of course is not infantry, so we're not going to be breaching through ruins with our fly keyword. At least they've got a bit of a better movement, we'll go into that in a moment. War gear options as well as war gear, so we've got the twin Gorse blaster and a close combat weapon as stock, and you've got the option to change the Gorse blaster for either a particle beamer or a twin Tesla carbine. Of course, we'll go through those in a moment too. Any model can have one shield vane, and then any model can have either one nebuloscope or one shadow loom. Again, we'll get onto that in a minute. So let's flip the card over and we're going to discuss the stats to begin. They are moving 12 inches, that's still pretty quick. I mean, they were moving 14. For some reason I had in my head that they used to move 12, but it was actually 14. 12 is still good. I mean, it's one of the fastest, if not the fastest unit in our index. So we can't complain too much. Everything has gone slower. It is what it is. Toughness 5, as it was. They've got the 4+ armor save, but you kind of just have to forget about it because we're going to get the shield vanes. If you remember from the rear side of this data card, we're going to get the shield vanes and then either the shadow loom or nebuloscope. So you're pretty much always taking the shield vanes. They're completely free and it's a 3+ armor save. So why they didn't just put it in the datasheet, I do not know. Just put it in the stats, DW. Anyway, 2 wounds as it was. Leadership 7+ and OC is 2. OC 2, not too bad. Not too bad. Let's move down into the... what should we do next? We may as well do the range weapons. We may as well go in order of the actual data card. Let's go with the particle beamer to begin. Now this of course isn't the stock loadout, but it's a free transfer, so it doesn't matter really. It's got blast and devastating wounds, which is really nice. That's a bit of a combination. 18-inch range. It's D6 attacks. We used to have 6 shots with this thing. It's now D6, but don't forget we do have blast, so it does help in a way. But 6 was good, but it is better. Trust me, it is better. Ballistic skill 2+, that's the first benefit there. You're not hitting on 3s with this weapon, you're actually hitting on a 2+ for whatever reason. It must be a particle thing, I'm not sure. The strength has gone up to strength 6 from strength 5, which means you're wounding toughness 3 on 2s. Nice. No AP, 1 damage. That's as it is. And again, I'll kind of repeat myself a bit, but with blast, for every unit that's got 5 models, you get an additional attack. If it's 10 models, you get 2 additional attacks, 15, 3 additional attacks, and 20, 4 additional attacks, and so on. So, even if you're shooting up against a 5-man intercessor unit, you're going to get D6 plus 1 attack with every single Tomb Blade. So that's alright, that's alright. And dev wounds, don't forget. Every critical wound roll ignores armor saves. Now what's cool about this is they're only damage 1 weapons, so therefore the nerf that happened recently with the devastating wounds has absolutely no effect whatsoever, because now it's not mortal wounds anymore, but because it's only 1 damage, it's going to spill anyway. Whereas if it was a 4 damage weapon, it would still just go onto 1 model rather than spill onto the next. But we've got 1 damage, so it makes no difference. So nice. That's the first one. I mean, what would I be using the particle beamer for? I mean, I use it for everything. That's my go-to. I kind of jumped the gun a little bit here. It's a bit of a spoiler, that is my go-to weapon out of the 3. You can fire it at light infantry because you're wounded on 2s. You can fire it at space marines, devastating wounds and blast is there. Terminators because you just ignore the invuln save. It does a good job. I mean, I wouldn't go against vehicles and stuff like that and monsters, but to be honest, I wouldn't really do that with any of these weapons. Let's move on to the next one. So we've got the twin Gauss blasters next. Lethal hits and twin linked. Lethal hits, of course, because it's Gauss, that's the 10th edition thing. Now, they used to be rapid fire, we've lost that, but we've gained twin linked with the rerolling wound rolls. So it's swings and roundabouts there. We've lost a bit of range, we used to have 30-inch range, we've now only got 24. 2 shots each, so of course that would have been 4, effectively, at rapid fire range, which we don't have anymore. Hit on 3s, strength 5, minus 1 AP, not minus 2, and 1 damage. I think the AP is kinda low. I know the AP has been reset, so it had to be low, but when you're comparing it to the next one, which is the twin Tesla carbine, it kind of doesn't look that much different, apart from the lethal hits. But really, lethal hits, whatever, it's okay. Anyway, let's move on to the next one. We've got the twin Tesla carbine, which has the assault keyword, so you can advance and fire. So 12-inch movement, then the advanced move of D6, and then you're firing as normal. Sustain hits 2, any unmodified hit rolls of a 6, you're going to get 2 additional hits with that. Nice. And again, it's twin linked. Also nice. It's lost range, very similar to the twin Gauss blaster. It's only 18-inch range now, it was 24, but don't forget we've got assault to kind of make up most of that. You've lost 6 inches, but you can get D6 back with the assault ability. 2 shots with each one, it used to be 4. So only 2 shots now, that's a bit stinky, especially if you've got like a 3-man unit, that's a maximum of 6 shots. Yes, they're sustained, so one of them on average will be a 6. So you're pretty much going to have 6 hits on average. Feels a bit meh. Hit on 3s, strength is 5, AP nothing, and 1 damage. So in terms of the differences between this and the Gauss blaster, it's just the AP. In terms of the actual statistics and the range, of course, and then lethal hits versus sustained hits, both are twin linked. I would just take the particle beamer. It just makes more sense. There's loads of things you can do with it. Again, I mean, I've literally removed an entire Terminator unit with having a full unit of particle beamers. They just ignore invuln saves if you get the 6s. That's what you do, you fish for 6s. And hit on 2s anyway. But yeah, I like that, the particle beamer, that's my go-to. The close combat side of the data card, well, they're crap in melee. I mean, you've got 1 attack, hit on 4, strength 4, no AP, 1 damage. Pretty much improvised weaponry at this point. You'll probably forget to use it, or use them. A 3-man unit has 3 attacks. You're likely missing 1.5 of them. It's just crap. Don't even worry about it. Yeah, not too bad though in terms of the range capability. Let's move over to the right hand side of this data card. We've got the actual abilities, the core abilities of Scout 9-inch. So as soon as the game begins, well, after you've deployed, after you've done first turn, all that stuff, you're going to be scouting 9 inches. So that's going to be helpful for your first turn secondary objectives, because you're going to be getting into the No Man's Land missions, into the objectives rather. Maybe you've actually pulled No Man's Land, or extend battle lines, or area denial where you've got to get to the centre. Engage on all fronts maybe. There's lots of secondaries that you need to score turn 1 that will require you to get a little bit of a distance going. You can't be deep striking turn 1, you can't be using strat reserves turn 1. So there's not really much in the index that can go as quick as these. I mean, you've got flayed ones that can infiltrate, so they're already starting in a certain location. But that's really it. And I think the Tomb Layers are better. So it's a good ability. It's a good ability. The faction ability, of course, is Reanimation Protocols. Yep, that's standard. And it's good. The Invasion Engrams is actually an improved ability this edition, because previously it used to only work against range attacks. Now it's a -1 to enemy hit rolls against all attacks, so that will include melee as well. So it's a bit more of a defense if they do get caught in engagement range. War gear abilities, so we kind of already briefly spoke about the shield veins. It's basically a 3+ armor save, which you will be taking every single game. There's absolutely no reason to not take it, because it doesn't restrict you from taking anything else, and it's completely free. But the other 2, you can only take either or, and there is an obvious answer to which one you take, but we'll go through them both anyway. The Nebula Scope allows the bearer to ignore cover. I mean, cover is a big deal this edition. There's a lot of cover. It's almost impossible to not get cover now. It's so easy. But even though that's a good ability to have, the Shadow Loom gives the bearer a 5+ invulnerable save. And that to me is a no-brainer. You're just taking the 5+, you've got 3+ armor, 5+ invulnerable save. That makes them semi-durable. They still will go down, but those 5+ will come in clutch quite often, and all you need to do is reanimate and then you get a few back. So I definitely take the Shadow Loom with the Shield Veins as my combination. Ignore the Nebuloscope. So that is the front side of the data card, I guess. Let's move into some synergy. Starting off with the stratagems as always. So the first one I want to talk about is Conquering Tyrant, Protocol of Conquering Tyrant, to be able to reroll all your win rolls. That one is particularly good with the Particle Beamer because of Devastating Wounds. You're fishing for those dev wounds there, so you're just automatically ignoring armor saves, in-run saves. Again, Terminators with the 2+4+, who cares? Because you're just going for dev wounds, go straight through it. Nice. They're not likely to have a character nearby unless you've got the Sovereign Corona, but you're not likely to keep up with it. So I wouldn't worry too much about that one. The other one is Protocol of Sunstorm, to be able to advance because you're going to gain the Assault keyword. Obviously the Tesla Carbines already have that, so you won't need that. But with the Gorse weapon and the Particle Beamers, you could add that on to gain a bit of range or just gain a bit of movement. Protocol of Vengeful Stars, if you lose a model, then you can shoot with the rest of your unit, as if it was our shooting phase. I wouldn't really use this on a 3-man team. This is more for a 6-man team, because of course you will lose a model to it in order to use this. So if you've got a 3-man unit and you've lost one, you're only going to be shooting with 2, not worth 1 CP. Whereas if you're shooting with 5 Particle Beamers with Blast against a larger unit potentially, could be pretty good. Could be pretty good. Unit synergy wise, we've got the Command Barge, which we don't talk about that often. I'm not that keen on the Command Barge this edition. In the last edition I love the Command Barge. This edition I'm not really keen. The only way of really using the Command Barge is putting the enhancement on him for the 4+ Feel No Pain save, the Septurnal Weave, but you're kind of saving that for the Transcendent Catan, so he doesn't really get it. But if you do take the Command Barge and he keeps up with your Tomb Blades, there's 2 abilities that he has. The first one is the Carrier Wave, which is an aura to add OC to your unit, so there'll be OC3, not bad. And the Resurrection Orb actually works on nearby units within 6, infantry or mounted, and of course the Tomb Blades are mounted, so it is a way of popping Resurrection protocols in your opponent's command phase. Another bit of synergy is the Silent King, another unit we don't talk about that much. Another one he's okay, he's just not like he used to be. But the Pharaoh of Stars, which is one of the selectable abilities he has, being able to reroll your hit rolls and wound rolls of a 1 within 6 inches of the Silent King. That's an aura, so that, rerolling, if you hit on 2s and you're rerolling 1s, and then you've got the dev wounds going off and you're rerolling 1s, that's nice, that's pretty nice. And of course the Reanimator, if he's anywhere near the Tomb Blades, for the extra D3 reanimation. Now what do you do with the Tomb Blades? What do you do in terms of the battlefield? Like, what are you doing on the battlefield? What are you scoring with it? And what is the game plan when you're using Tomb Blades? So let's talk about the scoring first. Early rounds you want to be scoring the No Man's Land objectives, the primaries as well as the secondaries. And we kind of spoke about it earlier, No Man's Land, extend battle lines, engage on all fronts. Those kind of secondary cards, if you do pull them, they can do it. Of course the primaries as well, although you won't be scoring them in turn 1. I mean, there will be some primary missions in the actual Leviathan cards that you can score turn 1, but for the actual take and hold stuff, that will be coming in your command phase in round 2. So you kind of need them in position and maybe behind some sort of terrain just to keep them safe. Mid to late game, you're looking more at the advanced secondary objectives, the further afield ones, such as take enemy outpost, investigate signal, teleport homers, because you're going to be using their speed as well as their objective control too. So that will come in handy, that 12-inch movement, maybe advancing as well with the Tesla if you've got that, or Sunstorm, Protocol Sunstorm. But they're reasonably durable in general. I mean, they've got the -1 to hit them in all phases. You've got the toughness 5, the 3+ armor, the 5+ invulnerable save, so they're semi-durable. If they are targeted heavily, they will go down, of course, because 5+ invuln isn't gonna, rip up trees or anything. But if your enemy units are taking pot shots at them, they will likely survive. As for damage, it all depends on the weapons that you've taken for your Tomb Blades. The Gorse weapon I don't think has enough AP for being an anti-marine gun, especially as it's damage 1. And then you've got the Tesla that doesn't really provide you enough initial shots to then explode with, because you've only got 6 shots initially, and only one of them on average is a 6. It would be nice if they had sort of 3 shots each, that would make a bit more of a difference, but 2 shots each isn't a lot. So you're kind of going with the beamers that hit on 2s, blast, dev wounds, and it's also strength 6 as well. The others are strength 5, so that's also an extra benefit for having that weapon. Overall, a pretty cheap unit for what they do in terms of the speed, the decent enough damage output, semi-durable, and all those things are where the game is at this moment, especially for Necrons. Speed, movement wins your games, durability, of course, that keep within the game, and being able to score quite a lot of the secondary cards is also vital to be winning your games. So that being said, let's get on to the Planet 40k rating today for the Tomb Blades. They're not on auto-include, but they are very good and they are very useful. For today, I'm going to be going with the Planet 40k rating of 4 stars.